Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. Happy Thanksgiving! Today we'll conclude our three-part installment of the Thanksgiving Specials Cooking Corner episodes. And we're wrapping up with a bang. We've got a combo episode with two kinds of vegetables. We're making Parmesan asparagus and cinnamon butter carrots. Lucky for everyone, these are some fairly simple recipes, so let's get started. The first recipe is going to be Parmesan asparagus. So, what you're going to need for the Parmesan asparagus are 2 bunches of asparagus, some Parmesan cheese, a stick of butter, and salt and pepper. Keeping with the simple theme of this recipe, we've got very few pieces of hardware that we're going to need. You're going to need a skillet to cook your asparagus in. You're going to need a measuring cup to measure some ingredients. You're going to need a sharp knife and a cutting board. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all you're going to need. As always, folks, step number 1 is going to be wash your hands. Go ahead, turn the water on, stick your little meat mitts underneath and get them nice and moist. Once your hands are sufficiently lubricated, get some soap on them. Rub the soap all around, back of the hands, get the knuckles in between the fingers. Once your hands are nice and soapy, let's put them back into the water and wash all that soap off. When you're convinced your hands are sufficiently clean, you can turn the water off, flick your fingers out, grab a hair dryer, and start drying your hands. I know it takes a while, but trust me, it's much better than when I used a hair straightener to dry my hands. Alright, moving on to step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be cut your asparagus. Now, I don't know who's had asparagus and who hasn't, so I'm just going to go over all the steps for cutting asparagus. The first thing you want to do is cut off all these disgusting white bits at the end. So get your knife and cut all the way down, removing those ends of the asparagus. Whew, it's a workout. Now what you're going to do is, taking little bunches at a time, measure about 2 inches up and start cutting it diagonally down. Now your good bits can go on a bowl to the side. We're going to be cooking with those in a minute. Moving right along, we're on to step number 3. And step number 3 is going to be cook your asparagus. Now the first thing you're going to do is take your pan and put it over a source of heat. Then you're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. Just like that. Once the butter's all melted and spread out over the pan, what we're going to do is we're going to add our 2 bunches of asparagus that have been cut up to the pan. And then we're going to season them with 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. Now I know when I listed the ingredients I didn't include these, but I highly recommend also using some tongs. You can use your fingers in a pinch, but as a result I no longer have fingerprints, so tongs are my recommendation. Now that our butter is all melted in the pan, it's time to add our asparagus. I recommend not just plopping it all down, because then hot butter can get everywhere and that can lead to burns. So, carefully place the asparagus in the pan, and then start mixing it around. Then you can add your salt and pepper. Alright, so I'm going to add the 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm not going to measure it though, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So, a little bit here, a little bit there, and that looks like a 1/2 teaspoon. And then I'm going to add the teaspoon of pepper. Once again, no measuring tools, just my eyes and the pepper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's probably good. Alright, now we just saute the asparagus. Lost a few. Now you're just going to saute your asparagus for 7 to 10 minutes until you think it's done. Alright, so it's been about 9 minutes, and these pieces of asparagus are getting a little tender, which is a sign that they are finished. So, we're going to turn the stove off and add a 1/4 cup of Parmesan to this asparagus. And we'll toss it while it's still in the hot pan. Alright, now that the pan's starting to cool down a little bit, the asparagus is all coated in that Parmesan, it's time to move on to the final step. It's time for the final step, which is going to be plating. So, your asparagus is starting to cool down, it's still got that hot bubbly Parmesan on it. So, all you're going to do is take it out of the pan and put it into your serving dish. Now to finish it, you're going to top it with another 1/4 cup of Parmesan and, if you want, a little pinch of parsley. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make Parmesan asparagus. The second recipe we've got for you on our Thanksgiving vegetable special is cinnamon butter carrots. Now I know that doesn't sound healthy, and let me tell you something, that's because it isn't. Now what you're going to need for ingredients are the following. You're going to need some cinnamon, you're going to need some carrots, you're going to need some sugar and some salt. You're going to need 1/3 of a cup butter softened, and you're going to need some orange juice. Now in terms of hardware of this recipe, you're going to need the following. You're going to need a kettle to boil some water. You're also going to need a sharp knife, a measuring spoon, a vegetable peeler, a measuring cup, a mixing bowl, a cutting board, an electric mixer, and an oven-safe dish to bake your carrots in. I'm using a Pyrex dish. You could also use a half tin. As always, step number 1 is going to be wash your hands. Go ahead, turn the water on, stick your hands underneath, get them nice and moist, flick them out, get some soap on them, rub that soap all around. You want your hands nice and soapy. Stick them back under the water and wash all of that soap off. Once you convince your hands are clean, you can turn the water off, flick your fingers out, grab yourself a towel, dry your hands off, and you're ready to cook. Step number 2 is going to be prepare your carrots. Now what you're going to need to do for this step is take your carrots, peel them with your vegetable peeler, and then cut the ends off. After that, you'll be all set. So go ahead, get your peeler, and start peeling. Once you've peeled your carrot, take your knife and just cut the ends off. And then you're ready to cook. Now that we've finished cutting the carrots, you can take this opportunity to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Moving right along to step number 3. Step number 3 is going to be make your glaze. Now for your glaze, what you're going to need is a teaspoon of salt, a half cup of sugar, a half teaspoon of cinnamon, a tablespoon of orange juice, 1/3 of a cup softened butter, softened, not melted, and 1/3 of a cup of boiling water. So, turn your water on and get it boiling while we mix the rest of these ingredients with the mixer. Alright folks, it looks like our water is boiling, so it's time to continue and make this mixture. Go ahead and turn that off and let that sit for a minute while we mix the rest of our ingredients. To start with, take you 1/3 of a cup of butter that's been softened and add it to your bowl. Now that it's in there, you're going to add a half cup of sugar, a half teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of orange juice. Once you've added these 4 ingredients and your butter in the bowl, take your mixer and beat it until it's creamy. Once you're done, it should look a little something like this. Now is the time where you add your 1/3 cup boiling water. Moving right along, we're on to step number 4, and step number 4 is going to be glaze your carrots. For this step, you're just going to arrange your carrots in your baking dish and then pour the mixture over the top. Go ahead and fit them in there now. If you have particularly thick carrots, you can cut them hot dog style or lengthwise to make them thinner so they cook faster. But these are all fairly thin, so I'm just going to leave them. As with the asparagus, this is just a regular vegetable side dish recipe. Goes great with any meats. Theoretically, if you're good at Tetris or Jenga, you should be able to get all your carrots to fit, and it should look something like this. Now, you can just pour your glaze over your carrots and stick it in the oven to bake for 90 minutes. Go ahead and pour your glaze over the top. Make sure to spread it evenly over the carrots. Now you can cover the whole thing with tin foil and stick it in the oven. It's time for the final step, which is going to be plating. Now, for the final step, what you're going to do, grab some tongs, make sure they work. Now that you're sure that they work, grab some of these carrots and move them into a serving dish. Pick them up just like that and drop them in there. Now what you can do is take a spoon and get some of that buttery goodness on top of your carrots. And just like that, you're ready to eat. That concludes this special Thanksgiving combo vegetable episode of Cooking Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. I hope you enjoy both the carrots and the asparagus, as they're two of my favorite holiday dishes. If you like this video, leave a like below. If there's something you want to see on the channel, leave it in the comments and I'll try and make it. And if you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm posting new videos all the time. Bye-bye now.